So, did Queen Camilla make a good decision in deciding not to use the Kohinoor diamond in Queen Mary's crown for the coronation? So, there's a lot of controversy around her crown and the diamonds in the crown jewels. And just a couple of weeks ago, she made the decision not to wear the Kohinoor diamond, because Queen Elizabeth didn't either, in Queen Mary's crown for her part of the coronation. So we're going to get into that because there's so much controversy regarding these jewels, and it's very interesting, and the history goes way back into the 13th century even, and probably even before that. But the diamonds that she chose to be put in the other crown are equally as controversial. Okay, so I am Deanna from Hot for History. I am going to discuss with you the diamonds that that Camilla is choosing for, or we're going to talk about the Kohinoor diamond and the Cullinan diamond. So today I was so excited. I was about ready to release a short, and the short went like this. Queen Camilla decided not to use the controversial diamond, and instead she is going to be refashioning, in the sentiment of sustainability and all that, refashioning Queen Mary's crown, and she's going to be using Queen Elizabeth's own diamonds. And on that, I was like, oh, that's the sweetest thing. That's going to be so nice. How nice. I had to scrap the video because I remembered that the Cullinan diamonds that she's replacing it with have also their own controversy. So we're going to discuss this right now, and we're going to talk about what these diamonds represent. So here she is. What is the Kohinoor diamond? Let's talk about that first. So she decides not to use the Kohinoor diamond from India. And should she be returning that diamond? So rather than commissioning a brand new crown, Buckingham Palace and Camilla would wear a modified version of Queen Mary's crown for the coronation in May. So it's going to be the first time in history that a queen consort or a prince consort or a king consort, a prince consort has refashioned something rather than not created their own. So Camilla's crown is going to be modified to include Queen Elizabeth's diamonds, which to me made me very, very happy. And I was like, that is the sweetest thing, because then when King Charles is pronounced officially the king, then his queen next to him is going to have part of his mother's diamonds in there. Isn't that sweet? Because that's how I usually think, right? But the thing is that she's replacing them with the Cullinan diamonds, which also has a problem. So the Queen Mary crown was commissioned in 1911 for the coronation of King George V. And it's going to be the first time since the 18th century that an existing crown is going to be used. And then again, they wanted to do it because of sustainability and efficiencies, but they made changes, and everybody in India was freaking out. Like, how could you use this diamond in this crown? It was like the largest diamond. And just to let you know, the way that they got this diamond was like in the 1800s. So one of their last Shahs, this guy, I believe his name was Ranjit Shah, he had it. He had passed away. And then they were going to give this diamond to the Sikhs. There was like this whole thing going on. And of course, they couldn't have it in England because they wanted their own diamonds. And so they really wanted it. So what happened was they visited this kid. He was 10 years old. His name was Duleep, I believe. Hold on one second. So he ended up, it was like 1849, 1850. And they believe that the diamond was taken during that time, and this kid was forced to sign off for it. She's using the diamonds from the crown. She is using 3 diamonds from the late Queen's brooches. Yes, and one of them and some of them are the Cullinan diamonds. She's using the Cullinan 2, 3, and 5. So those are the ones that are also in question, which, are concerning. So let's talk a little bit about the history of the Kohinoor diamond. So it was like 1849, and it ended up that this prime minister or whatever goes over to goes over to India, and they wanted that diamond. So they had this kid sign over the sovereignty and that diamond to Queen Victoria. So basically, the kid himself, also after seeing this entire war or whatever, ended up going into the charge of somebody in England, ended up becoming Queen Victoria's godson. And so this diamond, Prince Albert takes it, and they're all excited. They're going to put it on display. It looks like glass. It's so beautiful. They're going to put it on display. All these people come, but when they put it on display, they put it so far away that nobody can really see it. And it's all a big drama because it's not as exciting as everybody thought it would be. And so then he decides that he's going to cut the diamond. And when he cuts the diamond, he cuts it into he takes off like 40% of it. And then after it's cut down, it's just basically put in, brooches and jewelry of Queen Victoria. Queen Victoria didn't even really want to wear it out much, but then she did. So fast forward, you move forward into Queen Elizabeth. She decided not to wear it because there was all this drama. And then now here we are. And of course, Queen Camilla is not going to be wearing it. But what is she going to be using? So she is going to be using, and they also said that there's this curse on it, which would apply only to the men and not to the women. But that's most likely not true. So there's been all this talk about, will England return the jewelry, all of the jewelry that they've stolen or whatever. That's what they're saying. So recently, Britain, this was just like last month, the Cambodian ministry said it received 77 pieces from the family of a British antiquities dealer, Douglas Latchford. And there were dozens of pieces of Angkorian crown jewelry stolen from Cambodia, which have never been seen in public and have been returned finally after centuries. And the Cambodian ministry says that they received the 77 pieces. This guy Latchford, who had it, died while awaiting trial in the United States for many awful, awful things. The collection, which arrived discreetly in Cambodia just this past week, features gold and other precious metals, and there's just tons of it, and it's very, very valuable. Well, what this brings up is also now there's this video out there with this Indian journalist named Narinder Kaur, and then they're saying, why can't they return the Kohinoor? So should they be returning that other diamond? And according to everybody, the palace is just basically saying, hey, it probably came from India, but it's in our possession, and this is what we have. That is apparently what was said, but do we really know? So I'm glad that she changed, but the big question then is this. The Indian government and all that have been asking for its return since the year 2000. My question to all of you, because I'm not an expert, is should this diamond have been returned or not? Because you go into the Tower of London, into the crown jewels, and you see all kinds of diamonds, right? And you see all kinds of jewelry. So here's the Cullinan. This is what she's replacing it with. And yes, some of them have been cut down. The Cullinan is huge, and it's been cut down into many pieces and that are in the Queen's collection that will be used in the crown. But here's the thing. The biggest diamond in the world ever found was found in South Africa in 1905, and it weighed an amazing 3,100 carats, which is about 1.37 pounds or 621 grams. When such a big diamond was found, it made headlines all over the world, so it was a big deal. And the guy who owned the mine, his name was Sir Thomas Cullinan. This is the diamond that's going to be going into the Queen Mary's crown from Queen Elizabeth's collection for Queen Camilla. So he gave the guy that the name came from Thomas Cullinan. So what happened was there was this guy, Thomas Evan Powell, and he worked there in South Africa. He found the diamond on January 26th of 1905. And Thomas Cullinan owned the mine, and he had just bought the land so he could look for diamonds there. And the diamond was found in a layer of blue clay, and it was just covered. So when Sir Thomas Cullinan got the diamond, he sent it to the government of the Transvaal colony. And eventually the Transvaal colony government then bought the diamond and gave it to King Edward VII as a gift. Okay, so it seems like a legitimate transaction, right? It just seems like it's a legitimate transaction. But it says the discovery of the Cullinan diamond was a big deal in the history of diamond mining, and it had a big effect on the diamond industry as a whole. The diamond was a very rare find because it was so big and it was so unique and so clean. No other diamond had ever been found that was as big or as good. The Cullinan diamond, again, it was in South Africa in a mine. Okay, the Cullinan diamond, and this was in the early 1900s, was an amazing find. No other diamond had been found. The rough diamond was huge. Because it was so big, people thought, they thought it was an industrial grade diamond at first, and they had to take it to England to kind of look at it. And it was, the diamond is a type 2A diamond, which is the purest diamond. So the Cullinan diamond's important find. So it ended up going to England and getting cut into several pieces, which was, kind of sad, but also kind of, it was so huge. They call it the Great Star of Africa. And it's currently in the British Royal Scepter, which is on display at the Tower of London, but they probably started to take these, out. I know that they took the Queen Mary crown out the other day. The scepter is one of the crown jewels of the UK. It's kept in the Tower of London. The British monarch uses the scepter on special occasions. It's also shown to the public like all year, right? The Great Star of Africa weighs 530.2 carats, guys. So they took that 3,100 carats and they kind of cut it up, right? But so this Great Star is huge, and it's one of the most valued diamonds in the world, right? So, but the controversy is, even in South Africa, there's a question on whether or not they should be returning that diamond. So she basically replaced it by one of, like sort of the lesser of two evils. And so basically it's still controversial. So the story that I was going for in the beginning, when I was telling you guys, I was so excited because, I wanted to tell this story, the story, which is so sweet and so awesome, which is basically King Charles is going to go and have his coronation. His queen will be next to him wearing his, great grandmother's crown. And yet she'll be repurposing it with his mother's jewels. And how sweet is that? Like, that's the story I wanted to tell. And in some ways, it still is sort of that story, but kind of not, because that Cullinan diamond, which is the one that they replaced from the Kohinoor, still is controversial. They're still basically saying, I don't know, but what is she going to put in it? The Cullinan diamond is in all of the crown jewels. It'll be in the scepter. It'll be in things that the king is holding as well. So they kind of had to opt for that. But the question is, is it, what should they do? So I just wanted to bring that up because there is some really good history and there's a lot of drama around it. And then some people are even saying, okay, well, because Camilla is who she is, she's the woman that he had an affair with years ago, that some people perceive as splitting up the marriage with Diana. Although I do mention that she had affairs too. And now she's going, originally she was going to have her coronation with a stolen diamond, or still possibly stolen diamonds. So I'm just bringing it up because there are people out there who aren't all, rah, like they want their diamonds back. It's like India called and they want their diamonds back, because even though they're not using the diamond in the crown for the Kohinoor, they haven't returned it either. They still have it. They said it. And then they want to say it's probably from India. One part of the story that's kind of sweet, but also, is that this guy, Duleep, who was a kid at the time, who was coerced to sign over sovereignty as well as that diamond to England, he grew up to be the godson of Victoria because he was, they said, in the charge of some other British couple. I don't know what happened to his mother, but anyhow, so he ended up going over to England. And when he was older, he was friends, obviously the godson of Queen Victoria. And she said one day, "Do you want to see the diamond?" And he was like, yeah. Like the people who kind of were taking care of him were like, he doesn't care. He never brings it up. He does not even care. Well, when she gave him the diamond to hold, apparently like he almost lost it. Like he was trying to hold himself together, but he almost lost it. And then he had it in his hands and he walked over to the queen and he says, "I've always wanted to officially give this to you." And so he gave her that diamond years later when he was an older man and said, "It is my honor to bestow upon you the great beauty of the world." I don't know what his wording was. And then he gave it to Queen Victoria. So that sounds really nice, right? But this kid, it was like his choice was either to die and to lose his country, right? Or to sign over the diamond. And then he gets to be older and he can't necessarily just say, "Well, you stole the diamond, I'm glad I have it," like to the queen. Just can't. So there's all this, drama and all that. So let's see. When they cut up the diamonds, yes, it makes it less. So, and she's not worthy of being consort. It's very, I don't know, it's very dramatic. It's very sad in some ways because I know many of us, we're partial to Diana. So it is what it is. But anyhow, I wanted to bring that up regarding the Kohinoor diamond and the Cullinan diamond. I would like to ask if any of you guys have any experts or any authors that are covering this story. I would love to interview them because I have a million questions on the subject. And even the symbolism, because some people believe that diamond represented, the basically control, land control and sovereignty. And so the fact that they took it away, it's like they took away their freedom in the name of imperialism. And so them handing it back would officially be, okay, because they've been asking since the year 2000, them giving the diamond back would be officially saying, we represent, we honor your freedom. So anyhow, okay. So guys, thank you for watching. And I will try to get into this a little deeper because I really think the history of both of these diamonds, because the Kohinoor diamond, this is just a short video tonight, just to prompt you all to just ask and to find out more information. But the Kohinoor diamond, the history, like I said, goes back hundreds and hundreds of years. And so what does it mean when something is stolen that's so valuable and so precious and another country is holding it and using it to represent their coming into the sovereignty, into the king, into the full leadership? Like, what does that really represent? I mean, you can get deep with it. So they should have skipped both of them and made William King. I would have been fine with that, Paula. I would have been totally fine with that. So yeah, and then regarding Camilla, I mean, girl, we have a lot we could talk about regarding her having this be her plan. She always wanted to be the queen. Yeah, it's interesting. Okay, so anyhow, I'm going to go and thank you guys for listening. I will try to bring more information about this, but when you're watching the coronation or when you're thinking about it, just keep in mind that there's some questions regarding some of these jewels. A lot of questions because so many countries, this was like what they were so proud of that diamond. And many of the diamonds did come from India or South Africa or like, and they were basically pillaged from this East Indian company that was a British financed, endeavor. So something for us to think about. All right. Good night, everybody.